Mexico. Cradle of ancient America's most advanced civilizations. A country torn by conquest. And united by revolution. A people sustained by ritual and tradition. $110 million people. Speaking 140 tongues. But just one voice. The voice of Mexico. Mexico comes from the word Mexica, the name the Aztecs called themselves. Before the voyages of Columbus or the conquest of Cortez, people inhabited the fertile valleys of Mexico for over 10,000 years. The country is divided into 31 states and a federal district, each with its own customs and cuisine. 4 times Mexico has been conquered by other nations, but the spirit of its people is indomitable. The story of Mexico is a story of faith and family, of ritual and tradition. To know this country, meet its people. A masked villain reinvents himself for the sake of his family. A sorceress creates dishes that are much more than meals. A widow prepares to visit with her dead husband. And a young girl flies in the face of tradition. Mexico is a country in a constant state of ceremony. 89% of the people are Catholic. And this is their most sacred spot. On the 12th of December, thousands gather at the Basilica of Guadalupe to worship. Tradition holds that an Indian peasant named Juan Diego was visited by the Virgin Mary and told to build a chapel on the spot. When asked for proof of the miraculous visit, he returned on a cold December day with an armload of roses. The priest was astonished. Then the peasant opened his cloak, and this image of the Virgin appeared. Today, that very cloak hangs in the basilica. The faithful come to worship and work their own miracle. In 24 hours, over 8 million will pass through. Other masses are held throughout the country. To honor the Virgin is to honor Mexico. The novelist Carlos Fuentes once said, "One may no longer consider himself a Christian, but you cannot truly be considered a Mexican unless you believe in the Virgin of Guadalupe." On a different kind of altar, another ritual unfolds. 230 miles southwest of Mexico City, in the state of Guerrero, in Acapulco. In the mid-20th century, Acapulco defined Mexico. Tourists came for the sun and the sights. And the cliff divers of Acapulco. Every day they risk their lives for family, honor, and dollars, but mainly for thrills. Jose Luis has been diving for 25 years. His precise entry into the water earned him a nickname, El Cuchillo, the knife.
My father was part of the second generation of divers on these cliffs. He started diving in 1936.
The divers put their trust in the Virgin of Guadalupe. For 8 decades, only men challenged the cliffs. But recently, all that changed. Iris Alvarez is the daughter of the knife. At 13, she's not only the youngest ever to dive from this height, she's the first female. The knife is her coach.
I always wanted to be just like him. He could do different dives, and I wanted to learn special dives just like him.
Every weekend, practice. She currently dives from 59 feet.
When I'm standing 59 feet up on that cliff, I'm nervous and afraid. It's like I'm going to fall or slip and crash on the rocks. I have to enter the water with closed fists. I'm breaking the water with my fist so that the impact won't crack my head.
Now 13 more feet of courage, 72 feet up. More than double an Olympic high dive.
From this new height, the view is different. I have to push up the cliffs harder.
Iris will attempt her new dive on December 11th, the eve of the miracle of Guadalupe.
I ask her to watch over me and my father and all my friends so that nothing bad will happen, that we will all be blessed.
But who will watch over Iris if it all goes wrong? The countryside of Mexico is littered with pre-Hispanic ruins that allude to a rich history. Scattered like jewels, these Mayan cities represent some of mankind's highest achievements and enduring mysteries. Their collapse still unexplained 1,000 years later. The complex of buildings at Chichen Itza may be the best preserved remnant of the Mayan Empire. Part marketplace, part holy site, part science lab. The Temple of Kukulcán has 365 steps, one for each day of the year. A ceremonial plaza with exactly 1,000 pillars. The ball court, where victory was honored with death. A few hundred miles away, on a 45-foot bluff by the Caribbean, stands the Mayan temple of Tulum. A key link in the trading network connecting their vast empire. "300 miles south at Palenque, a city struggles to re-emerge from the jungle. Only a handful of structures have been excavated, all built without metal tools or the wheel. Archaeologists are discovering the secrets of this city. Built like an astronomical clock, a sunbeam falling in the center of a hallway illuminates the sacred nature of a king's tomb. The moon, setting through the roof comb of the palace, signals the time to harvest. Mayan festivals revolve around the movement of the stars. People here still live by traditions hundreds of years old. They plant, harvest, and celebrate by the 20 months of the Mayan calendar. The Mayan way of life survives through ritual, while other Mexican traditions open the doors to the next life. West of Mexico City, in the state of Michoacán, lies the city of Pátzcuaro. Founded centuries before Columbus as a holy place, it still is. Pátzcuaro is the backdrop for a one-of-a-kind festival in early November. It doesn't honor statesmen or saints, but something no other country reveres: death. This makes Mexico a special place to live and die. In Pátzcuaro, children decorate skulls made of sugar and eat them. The pre-Columbians saw the skull as a symbol of life. More symbols: marigolds and cockscomb, grown especially for the Day of the Dead. Once a year, women bake Day of the Dead bread. These headless forms represent the spirits of deceased children. Nearby in Arrocutin, villagers create arches. They attach offerings to entice the dead to return. Maria Nympha has built an arch each year for 14 years, ever since her husband died.
All my children will be there. They join me in waiting for their father. We light candles and we take a bottle of tequila because he liked to drink. A little later, we will all join him in a small drink.
Before the Spanish conquest, the indigenous people celebrated their dead at different times of the year. The Catholic Church tried to stamp out these festivals, but failed. So they merged the native celebrations into two Catholic commemorations: All Saints' Day and All Souls' Day. Families remain all night waiting for their loved ones to return. Each candle represents a departed soul. They light extra candles for forgotten souls.
Just 2 days ago, I felt him in the house. When he would come home a little drunk, he would throw things around. And last Sunday, 2 glasses of beer fell off the counter. And I said, "That's my husband." And the kid said, "That's Dad coming home."
This is Mexico's version of the family tree, tracing roots by telling stories. After several years of hearing these stories, children come to know their ancestors.
I've done this since childhood. My grandmother showed me what to put in the offering. I grew up watching. In here, I have my own grave to honor with a flowered arch, offerings, and candles.
All night, church bells summon the spirits. The sleepy vigil ends with a special mass.
Ofrendando a nuestros seres queridos, nuestro corazón y de lo que Dios nos regale.
Comforted by memories of her husband, Maria will return again next year. The capital of Mexico is located near the southern end of the plateau of Anahuac. Mountains encircle the sprawling valley where the Aztecs founded their capital, Tenochtitlan, in 1325 AD. On the same site stands Mexico City, the second largest city in the world. Under Aztec rule, 1 million people lived here. Today, 23 million. And when the sun goes down, fanatic fans turn out for the pageantry and ritual found in the wrestling ring. In the early 1930s, performers donned masks to look more threatening. With cheap tickets, it quickly became popular as a poor man's theater.
La lucha libre
Mask wrestling is a fantastic world full of magic, where you can experience the clash between good and evil. They have técnicos, the good guys, and rudos, the bad guys.
Winning a match requires the best of 3 pins. One rule is strictly enforced. It is forbidden to unmask your opponent. Bad guys often threaten to expose their enemy, but when they do, they lose. This is Hombre Sin Nombre, man without a name. He knew as a boy he wanted to be a wrestler.
The first time I walked into an arena, the magic of masked wrestling captured me such that I could never let it go. It took over my mind.
He began to train in secret, so his parents wouldn't find out.
I never told them. I just snuck out. The only problem, I had huge bruises on my elbows and knees, or I'd be bleeding. They wanted to protect me, so they confronted me. Son, please, we want you to give up wrestling. And at that time, the only thing that I could say,
No me pidan eso.
don't ask me to quit wrestling.
Porque me estarían quitando la mitad de mi vida.
You would be taking out my heart.
He trains every day and fights 5 nights a week. The pressure is intense.
Virgencita de Guadalupe, pongo en tus manos mi vida.
The man without a name does have a name and a wife. And they have a family, 2 girls and a boy, Jose Luis.
¡Vámonos! ¡Ay!
He has picked up some moves from his father.
He loves wrestling. He's always jumping, lunging, and working out moves.
Jose Luis needs no encouragement to follow his father into the ring. But the rituals of the ring bind his family to some strange conventions. He will never show his face to outsiders. When cameras roll, the mask stays on. Hombre sin nombre has little time at home.
Sometimes I feel alone because he's not with us. He misses the kids, their school, watching them grow. So when he is with us, we take advantage of the family time we have together.
On a sunny afternoon, the floating gardens of Xochimilco offer the perfect location for some family time. These waterways are all that's left of Tenochtitlan, the ancient floating Aztec city. The Aztecs grew crops on these floating islands. No one seems surprised to see a masked wrestler enjoying some time with his family. But soon he may wear a new mask, for the man with no name seeks a new identity and a new life for his family.
His costume as Hombre Sin Nombre just wasn't attractive. It had no design.
To draw fans, he needs a change.
We decided to have a design competition so that the fans, the real supporters, could give him a name and a new costume.
The future of the man without a name rests in the hands of the fans. Can a new identity make him a star? Mexico ranks as one of the top 10 oil-producing countries in the world. Several large oil fields along the swampy northeast coast, or just offshore in the Gulf, produce more than 3 million barrels of oil per day, bringing the country almost $100 billion in revenue annually. Mexico is also where the world comes to play. A warm, dry climate, colonial architecture, ancient ruins, expansive beaches and wildlife reserves. Every year, millions of tourists spend billions of dollars. In the tourist mecca of Acapulco, Iris Alvarez prepares for her record-breaking dive. Before her attempt, her parents have a special present for Iris.
Para que te cuide todos tus clavados y te cuide siempre. Y que Dios te bendiga.
suerte, mami. Gracias.
"72 feet above the water, Iris says a final prayer to the Virgin of Guadalupe.
I dive because I love it, but also to honor the Virgin, so she will protect me, so that nothing bad will happen. She means a lot to me.
Jose Luis helps her choose the right moment to dive. She must hit the water as the wave comes in. Even then, it's only 13 feet deep.
Relájate un poco. ¿Se siente bien? ¿Te lastimaste?
Jose Luis has seen this type of injury before and knows what to do.
Aquí. Aquí te duele mucho, poquito.
Iris failed to lock her arms before hitting the water. Her right shoulder absorbed the impact. But she's more scared than hurt.
It was way high. I was nervous and scared all at once. I was feeling sick in my stomach, and I was shaking all over.
15 minutes later, Iris feels better.
I'm happy because I reached my goal. I did exactly what I set out to do. I never thought I could jump from 72 feet.
Iris has set a new world record. In the wilderness areas of Mexico, ecotourism has exploded. Every winter, people flock to the forests of Michoacán. At 10,000 feet, nature protects one of her most colorful wonders. Here reside millions of undocumented immigrants from North America, spending the winter in Mexico. This is the Rosario Monarch Reserve. For 3 months, these clumps seem lifeless. Then in February, the insects start to wake up.
The monarch butterflies that hibernate here in Mexico are the ones that come from southern Canada and the northern and central states. It takes them around a month and a half to make the trip.
In migration, they fly at 10,000 feet, average 100 miles per day, and travel over 2,500 miles. Soon there are so many monarchs, you can hear the sound of flight. Throughout the world, one style of music can always be identified as Mexican, the bright sound of mariachi. Mariachi throbs with love, joy, pain, and even suffering. Some call it the soul of Mexico.
It's so beautiful and different than other types of music. Mariachi music is played from the heart, from our soul.
Mariachi began in the state of Jalisco, with farm workers putting poems to music.
They started with just stringed instruments, the harp, the guitar, the bass guitar, and after a few years they added the violin and later the trumpet to give it that bright mariachi sound.
The Spanish conquest of Mexico set off a revolution in cuisine. Exotic Aztec spices and ingredients, like chocolate and vanilla, collided with the flavors of Old Spain, a gastronomic culture war. Today in Mexico City, Chef Martha Ortiz continues the revolution.
I believe that cooking is an art. Flavors can inspire us, especially in the Mexican culture. They bring us memories, taste, aroma, melancholy. It's poetry.
Five years ago, she launched a restaurant in the capital called The Eagle and Sun. And every month, to keep the menu fresh, she conjures up a new dish. Today, she decides on a love menu. For the ingredients, she visits the Sonora Market.
It is a witch's market where they sell herbs to enhance love.
Martha is looking for a specific herb said to enhance passion, called toloache.
Gracias. ¿Tiene usted toloache? ¿Me puede dar un poquito? ¿Cuánto quiere? Necesito como 10 pesos. ¿Qué debo de hacer con él?
Nada más lo pone a hervir. Una hoja para 1 litro de agua.
¿Una hoja para 1 litro de agua? Bueno, es fuerte entonces. La cocina.
Mexican cuisine carries a sensual component. And now, with these herbs, we'll be able to increase those feelings of love.
Me urgen los polvos del amor. Gracias.
In her new kitchen, Martha works her magic.
This is a mix of lettuce that needs to be selected. And now we'll sprinkle the love powders.
For the main dish, Martha chooses duck with a chocolatey sauce called mole.
We are just finishing the mole sauce. For me, mole is the flavor of Mexico. I believe that to prepare it just right, I have to call on my brothers: fire, the wind, water, and the earth. And the flavor, is marvelous. This is the banana crest that we'll use to crown the dish. And finally, some sesame seeds.
Está listo.
Now to prepare the Jamaica drink.
The secret ingredient, boiled concentrate from the toloache herb. Warned of the potency, Martha is careful not to use too much. Nothing left but the final touches. The dining room is ready. And the love menu is served.
Bienvenidos. Gracias. ¿Ya les explicaron del menú que van a probar ahorita? Hay una relación.
There is a sensual relationship between food and the soul. There are people who eat just to get full, and they live simple, mediocre lives. That's sad. I prefer meals with history and substance.
Esto es un pato con mole negro.
From new cuisine to a new identity. Today, in another part of Mexico City, a wrestler will get a new life. The contest to give an identity to the man without a name is over. Fans sent in thousands of suggestions.
La mayoría fueron más niños. Se veía por los dibujos que
Most of them were from the kids. You could tell by the drawing. We wanted to have him join forces with underworld gods, Averno and Mephisto. So we began to look for designs with demons or devils, with evil elements. So we chose this design and this name. And I think it works with Averno, Mephisto, and Hefesto.
So it was decided. The mask of Hombre Sin Nombre has been worn for the last time. Hefesto is born. Darkness descends upon the Valley of Mexico, and the capital, a rare night for wrestling fans. The Wrestling Syndicate unveils a new identity for the man without a name at a special team match in the Mexican arena. The good guys, Volador the Flyer, Ultimate Dragon, and the wildly popular Místico will be pitted against the bad guys, Mephisto, Averno, and the newly minted Hefesto. After some lively sparring, Hefesto shocks Místico with a knee drop. First pin goes to the bad guys. Aerial antics by Volador amp up the action in and out of the ring. The second pin goes to the good guys. The match will be determined by the final pin. Místico pulls out some of his signature lances. As the morality play reaches its climax, the good guys gain the upper hand. The final pin is by Volador. The good guys win. Místico's team won. Hefesto and the other demons made them look good, by acting bad. After the fight, Gabby and the children find their dad.
From my point of view, I have no choice but to continue supporting him wherever that takes us.
Things are beginning to change for Hefesto. Fans line up for a signature on a program or elsewhere. With a new name and attitude, Hefesto has no plans to retire anytime soon.
I want to be a star. That's where I'm going.
Ese es mi propósito, es mi meta.
I want to be among the greatest of the masked wrestlers.
Con los consagrados.
The lives of these Mexicans reveal a country looking to the future, with its roots firmly planted in the past. And while the country has an abundance of modern and historic monuments, its greatest monument is not made of metal or stone. It is the Mexican people. They have survived and prospered by holding fast to their traditions and their love of their nation. On September 15th, Mexicans gather at the Zócalo. In the center of Mexico City. They celebrate an historic event from 1810, when an heroic priest appeared on a church balcony and cried out for independence from Spain. At the stroke of 11, an official appears and leads the crowd in El Grito, the rallying cry for independence and freedom.
¡Viva nuestra independencia!
Independence. Freedom. Viva Mexico!